Section 8. Resolution. The Three-Fifths Compromise. After a bitter debate, Madison proposed a compromise. Count each slave as 3/5 of a person, he suggested, when determining a state's population. The delegates approved this idea, known as the Three-Fifths Compromise. The Three-Fifths Compromise made a mockery of the statement in the Declaration of Independence that all men were created equal. Still, the delegates adopted the compromise because it seemed the only way to keep the convention moving forward. A dispute over trade raised another question about slavery. To help businesses in the North, Northern delegates favored giving Congress broad power to control trade between states and other countries. This proposal made Southern delegates nervous. They worried that Congress might try to tax Southern export crops such as rice and tobacco. Southerners also worried that Congress would use its power over trade to outlaw the slave trade, the importing of slaves from Africa. Southerners had reason to be fearful. By 1787, several states had outlawed the slave trade within their boundaries, and a majority of the convention's delegates favored ending the slave trade completely. South Carolina and Georgia, however, objected that their economies would collapse without the constant supply of fresh slaves. Neither state would agree to any constitution that threatened the slave trade. Again, the delegates settled on a compromise. Congress would have the power to control trade, but with two limitations. First, Congress could not place any tax on exports going to other countries. Second, Congress would not interfere with the slave trade for 20 years, or until 1808. To satisfy Southerners, the delegates also agreed to a provision known as the Fugitive Slave Clause. This clause said that the escaped slaves had to be returned to their owners, even if they were caught in a free state. Without such compromises, the states might have never come together in a single union. Still, the compromises only postponed the day when Americans would have to resolve that terrible contradiction between slavery and the ideals of liberty and equality. Meanwhile, generations of African Americans would spend their lives in bondage.